Come live and work in Natchitoches.
Hey, come on, live and work in Natchitoches.
Come on and live and work in Natchitoches.
We just welcome everybody who is willing to work with the children in a positive way. So we're looking for people who want to be a part of a winning team. We're looking for those people who are motivated to do what's right and what's best for children. We want to run ahead of the pack. We don't want to do the mediocre thing. So we're working hard to get those people.
The most vital resource that we have is our young people. That's our students, and their education is what's going to take them forward in life. And we just feel it a calling on our lives to be a part of that in the most positive way that we can.
Our students need us. They need that support. We want teachers who are here, who are dedicated to our students, and we know that they deserve that. And so here at our school, we want the best of the best, and they deserve the best of the best.
Here in Natchitoches Parish, we're focusing on our #1 priority this year is student learning. And so we are working with our teachers and all of our students. We're working on goal setting. We are having them focus on setting their own goals for personal growth, both teachers and students. Hopefully is going to lead to student growth for all of our students.
But the other thing is we have beautiful Cane River Lake, we have Front Street, we have the Christmas Festival, we have meat pies, we have so much going on that's positive, and we're here to do the right thing because we truly believe that children come first.
It is important to have a facility that you're proud of. Not only to have a classroom to learn in, but a facility that you can say, I'm happy to be there. Every one of our schools is under construction of some form. I love this community, and I think this is a great place to grow up and live and work.
I'm a product of the Natchitoches Parish School System, so I think the teachers and principals who I learned from did a great job. I really applaud what teachers are doing to make sure our students are reaching those targets that I know have been set for them.
Regardless of where they start, we're going to grow them and improve them in their skills so that when they leave us, they're prepared for a fulfilling life. In whatever role they choose, we're going to prepare them to be able to compete and go after all of the goals they've set forth in their life.
The school district having formed partnerships with the education department, I know that those teachers strive. They find a way to help ensure that those individuals are able to learn.
Come on and live and work in Natchitoches.
Come on and live and work in Natchitoches.
Come live, work, and grow here in Natchitoches Parish School Board.
Come on, live and work in Natchitoches.
I commute about 30 minutes every day because I believe in the mission of Natchitoches Parish. I believe that we are always pushing forward, that we always have a purpose, that we are always in a growth mindset of transitioning forward. If you're the person who wants to be a part of something fabulous, you want to be on the ground floor, you want to make an impact in education, you are the person that needs to be in Natchitoches Parish. Live, work, and teach in Natchitoches.
Lives are waiting to be transformed. The only thing missing is you. We're looking for motivated teachers who are ready to be a positive force in their students' lives. You'll teach in our newly renovated schools that you'll be proud to be a part of. Ready to make your new home along the beautiful Cane River? Ask us about our relocation stipend. Our students deserve the best teachers. They deserve you. Live, work, grow in Natchitoches. We'll see you soon.
There are faculty members that have seen it all. I know they have my back. I know they can assist me in any way possible, and not only just emotional support, but that instructional, constructive feedback that helps me become not only a better teacher, but a better leader. If you're anything like me, you're at a crossroads in your life, but you know that you want to make a difference, don't put it off. Go for it. Come live, learn, teach, and grow in Natchitoches Parish.
Come live and work in Natchitoches.
Hey, come on, live and work in Natchitoches.
Come on and live and work in Natchitoches.
We just welcome everybody who is willing to work with the children in a positive way. So we're looking for people who want to be a part of a winning team. We're looking for those people who are motivated to do what's right and what's best for children. We want to run ahead of the pack. We don't want to do the mediocre thing. So we're working hard to get those people.
The most vital resource that we have is our young people. That's our students, and their education is what's going to take them forward in life. And we just feel it a calling on our lives to be a part of that in the most positive way that we can.
Our students need us. They need that support. We want teachers who are here, who are dedicated to our students, and we know that they deserve that. And so here at our school, we want the best of the best, and they deserve the best of the best.
Here in Natchitoches Parish, we're focusing on our #1 priority this year is student learning. And so we are working with our teachers and all of our students. We're working on goal setting. We are having them focus on setting their own goals for personal growth, both teachers and students. Hopefully is going to lead to student growth for all of our students.
But the other thing is we have beautiful Cane River Lake, we have Front Street, we have the Christmas Festival, we have meat pies, we have so much going on that's positive, and we're here to do the right thing because we truly believe that children come first.
It is important to have a facility that you're proud of. Not only to have a classroom to learn in, but a facility that you can say, I'm happy to be there. Every one of our schools is under construction of some form. I love this community, and I think this is a great place to grow up and live and work.
I'm a product of the Natchitoches Parish School System, so I think the teachers and principals who I learned from did a great job. I really applaud what teachers are doing to make sure our students are reaching those targets that I know have been set for them.
Regardless of where they start, we're going to grow them and improve them in their skills so that when they leave us, they're prepared for a fulfilling life. And whatever role they choose, we're going to prepare them to be able to compete and go after all of the goals they've set forth in their life.
The school district having formed partnerships with the education department, I know that those teachers strive. They find a way to help ensure that those individuals are able to learn.
Come on and live and work in Natchitoches.
Come on and live and work in Natchitoches.
Come live, work, and grow here in Natchitoches Parish School Board.
Come on, live and work in Natchitoches.
Good afternoon and welcome to the June 16th meeting of the School Board Office. If you'll please stand, we'll have Mr. Benefield lead us in prayer and Mr. Matwire lead the pledge.
Lord, thank you for the grace that you've provided us all through this year. Thank you for the many people in this room whose sole purpose is to help school children in Natchitoches Parish. Let us all remember the young, brave men and women who are defending our country, and let's hope that everything that we do today, tomorrow, and next year is for the good of the children of Natchitoches Parish. Also remember that unanswered prayers are sometimes the best prayers. In your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. If everyone will please silence your cell phones during the meeting. And also, if you're here to speak on an agenda item, if you'll please fill out a form at the rear of the room. And we'll start with a roll call from Ms. Revels.
Mr. Danzy?
Here.
Mr. Matwire?
Here.
Mr. Benefield?
Here.
Mr. Garner?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Present.
Mrs. Guidros?
Here.
Mrs. Broadway?
Here.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Here.
Ms. Palmer?
Here.
Ms. Phelps?
Here.
And Ms. Harvey?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So tonight, we are gifted with the presence of Ms. Corey Beth Manuel, and she will tell us all the wonderful things going on at Goldana Elementary Junior High School.
My notes as well.
Oh, gosh. All right, Mike, it's on you.
Did you break it, Ms. Manuel? Okay.
Let's get out of presentation mode.
Well, I am actually going to go back and forth between, well, I can't see my notes, but you know what? We're just going to wing it just a little bit. Y'all will be able to see the PowerPoint that I created, and hopefully I can remember my notes. This year was a really exciting year for Goldana. Every school in the district, as you all probably know, was gifted with an instructional specialist, which really, really helped the principals, the administrators, and the teachers out a whole lot. In all of the transitions with getting these instructional specialists into our school, we all learned a whole lot of new things. I'm sure that y'all have probably heard about some of those, but I am going to go over a few of them that are specific to Goldana. We ended the 2018-2019 school year with a SPS score of 61.7. The state did not take the prior year or the next year's scores, but they did give us a simulation of what our scores would have been had they counted in the 2020-2021 school year. However, we still went back to the last official SPS score. So whenever we got the instructional specialist set into our school, the school board also had a plan in place to utilize Ms. Kathy Noel and to have her help us to improve each school's individual test scores. So our goal SPF was set at 74 for this upcoming school year, actually this last school year. And we are really, really excited. Next month we're going to be getting our scores, and we are looking forward to seeing what that new SPS score is and if we met our goal and how close we were, or how close we were to it, and setting new goals to either meet or exceed the current one. Each student had a goal set where they either increased by 20 points on their test, their LEAP 2025 test from the previous year, or if you were in kindergarten through second grade, you didn't take the LEAP 2025 test. So those students, our goal was for them to simply be able to read on benchmark, on grade level. So that was our goal for our little ones. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about our instructional specialist. Her name's Lisa Thompson. She came from Natchitoches Central, and she just absolutely hit the ground running. She is an extremely intelligent, wonderful instructional specialist, and her fit at Goldana is just absolutely perfect. Each week, we have weekly job-embedded professional development, and those are called cluster meetings. And in those cluster meetings, we use cluster cycles, which have special goals each cycle, which last anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks is a cluster cycle. In those goals, it has to do with goal setting for the students, with the students. A lot of the onus has been, taken from the teacher setting the goals to the actual students setting their own goals and tracking their own goals. So the kids know, hey, this is where I am, this is where I need to be, and my teacher's going to help me get there. And so that's been a really, really fun thing to watch this year, and it has been so nice to be able to have a help person, a helpmate in the school to be able to help do that, and that's what I have in Lisa, and she's amazing. We track the student data throughout the school year with the help of the students and the teachers. The instructional support for the teachers is planned through these learning walks, and I'm sure everyone has probably heard of observations or walkthroughs, but a learning walk is really more of a thoughtfully planned out partner learning walk, partner observation, where we go into the classrooms together and we observe the teacher. And not only do we observe the teacher, we actually go to each individual student while we're in there and we talk to them about what they're learning. And if you can go to a student and you can ask them, hey, what are you learning today? And they can actually tell you, hey, this is what I'm learning. And you ask them, why do you need to learn this? And they can tell you why they need to learn it and why it's important to their future. Then you have set the bar, and the only way to go is up. Each student this year had an individual growth plan. That's what an IGP is, if you see that acronym on the board. An individual growth plan is just what it says. It is a plan for each individual student to improve their scores or to grow in some way. Some of our students not only had individual growth plans for their academics, they also had it for behavior, for social goals, if they were little ones who may need some help with that, and even some of the junior high as well had some of those goals. So, you know, self-improvement not only has to do with test scores, it also has to do with the whole child. So also a new thing that we had this year was something called WIN. And WIN stands for, excuse me, not in the past, it's current, whatever I need. And this is a picture of one of our teachers, our librarian, which was awesome that we had a librarian this year. That was a new position that was brought back. This is her actually in her book room. We used every single nook and cranny we could of the school to make sure that this time happened every day. So whatever I need was a period of time at the beginning of the school day, which was about 45 minutes, and the students were tiered based on their ability level, and they were broken into 3 groups. Also, in those 3 groups, it was per grade level as well. So each teacher had their own individual group, and they would use tools from the State Department in order to accelerate the learning of those students. The ones who may be below benchmark were able to get what they needed, just like I said, whatever I need, what they needed in order to catch up here, to be on grade level. The ones who were already on grade level got what they needed in order to excel, and then the ones who were already above grade level, they were able to also not necessarily maintain, because we look for excellence and we strive for excellence, but to take their skills and apply them in a different way. Like I said, this is a group of 3rd graders, and this was actually our yellow group, which would be our middle group, and these students are in the middle of right now, in this picture, using documents from the state called the Accelerate documents. And if you see Miss Johnson right there is very carefully helping that young man. It was a lot of fun to go in and observe her. Throughout the school year, we also bought a program called Accelerated Reader. STAR 360 is it's our benchmark exam that we use every quarter, 4 times throughout the year at the end of every grading period. And through the company that provides STAR 360, you also have an Accelerated Reader program. And so in order to get the students really excited about reading, they had incentives in order to, you know, not only read for pleasure, but also to have a goal of something that they consider fun. So throughout the school year, this is our junior high, our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Throughout the school year, Ms. Kelly Norman, our junior high ELA teacher, would have the students read their books. They would take a little test on it on Accelerated Reader. And if they made a certain percentage, which I believe was an 80% or higher, then she would get their name. They would put their name on a little slip of paper, and it went into a box. At the end of the school year, that box was brought to the front of the classroom, and Miss Norman actually had people in the community, had other teachers in the school, had parents who donated prizes and gift cards and all sorts of fun things. And bless her heart, she went out and she spent her own money on some of these things as well. So she's just all in with the kids and for the kids. So you see this picture right here. The students are holding up some of the things that they won as their names were drawn. And they also had pizza and Cokes and cake, and kids love that. Anything to get them excited about reading and learning. So next year, we are looking for to add a few more things. We're looking to actually hone in our skills with our WIN groups, with our data tracking, with our cluster cycles. A couple of things that we're wanting to do is we're wanting to reintroduce 2 specials, art and music. We're not going to have a full year of art or a full year of music, but our students could really benefit from having a little bit of art throughout the year and a little bit of music. So what we plan on doing with our master schedule is having our librarian not only check out books, but also provide a little bit of music education and a little bit of fine arts for our students as well. And she's really looking forward to that. All the other teachers have been really excited about it. Mr. Eugene probably can vouch for this, and Ms. Phelps as well, but I have heard nothing but wonderful things about a lady from the community who has since passed, Miss Whitney, who used to be the music teacher at Reverend Harris, who used to be the music teacher at Goldana. She has our auditorium is actually named after her, and everyone has said, oh, we just, we wish we had music again. Miss Whitney did this, Miss Whitney did that, and it was just awesome. And so hopefully we'll be able to grow up a little bit of fine arts and music appreciation through this new initiative that I'm wanting to introduce throughout this new school year. Another goal is to grow our PTO, our parent-teacher organization. COVID really had an impact on the amount of parental involvement that we had, and I probably can speak for other schools as well, but COVID had an impact on our parental involvement across the board. So trying to get that built back up is something that we really, really want to focus on, as an extracurricular this year as well. We really want that buy-in from the community and from the parents. Another thing that we're going to do this year is we're going to add lead teachers to our instructional leadership team. The instructional leadership team, as of right now, consists of myself and Ms. Thompson. And we are really looking forward to interviewing lead teachers who will also be added to that team. They will be classroom teachers who are still responsible for their own classroom and teaching their students the content that they need to teach and help them meet the goals that they need to meet. But also they are going to help support other teachers throughout these learning walks and doing something called field testing. And field testing is basically where we take data from teacher practice, student achievement, and we marry those two things and we figure out, okay, where's the disconnect? Why are the students not growing like they should? What can we do to help support the teacher to help get those scores up and help those students meet their goals? So those lead teachers are going to be instrumental in helping with that. Another thing that we are going to be focusing on is not only individual growth plans for the students, but also for our instructional leadership team, individually, myself, instructional specialists, lead teachers, as well as every classroom teacher and every student. So the only way to get better and to improve anything is to set goals for yourself and to grow professionally, to grow in any way that you possibly can. Another thing is, our new school student and personal goals that we have through these IGPs are going to, they're going to directly affect and they'll be in line with the district's long-range plan as well. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they're curious about that I could address? Oh, all right. Well, thank y'all so much. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Eloy and Ms. Page, for sending this lady to Goldana. She's a remarkable person, has a heart for the students and all out there. So thank you all, and thank you for your work.
Well, thank you, Mr. Eugene.
All right, thank you, Ms. Manuel.
This is a plan that's going to be used for all the schools. This is the initial.
Okay, moving along with the agenda. Dr. Eloy, do you have any updates?
I just have one update. I'd like to remind everyone that we will be observing as a school district the Juneteenth holiday tomorrow, Friday. We have off. To be honest with you, we wished we would have thought of it sooner before we did summer school contracts. We would have been able to give off that Monday, but we would have had to reverse contracts. Next year, I assure you, we will be enjoying a 4-day weekend, but we want to remind everyone of the significance of that holiday and the fact that this commemorates the end of slavery and the Emancipation Proclamation, and we want all of the district to understand the importance and reverence that should be had for that holiday. And we also want to look forward to Father's Day as well. But all of our fathers in the district and all of our folks who are being good male role models for our students. But other than that, no updates.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, item number 3 on the agenda, old business. Mr. Danzy, do you have any other questions or need any more information about your agenda items?
Not unless Mr. Wascom has any. Anybody else any
I got
comments?
some few questions on, with the hunting lease and with the farm stuff. On the hunting lease, I heard like, the other night y'all say that y'all was gonna lease out some of the property that's landlocked or whatever, and the people that, would lease it would have to find the right of way. I think we don't, I think we need to find the right of way, but it should be in the courthouse that the right of way to the property, if you're crossing somebody else's property, and if they are the people that have the land round us, if they blocking us to get in our property, we need to find a way to get in it, because if it have timber on it, we're gonna need a way to get in it to cut the timber off.
Would y'all
So
rather me not lease that property out then, until that's settled?
I wouldn't want to lease it, cause, well, I guess if the people around it wanted to lease it, but I don't think, we need to stipulate that that piece of property is landlocked,
Okay.
you
so-
can't get to it. You know,
Yeah,
that's
well,
what
the-
it need
the-
to be did, but, and, cause somebody who adjoins it might go ahead and lease it.
Well, currently, we access it for for timbering through a utility easement that's already in place for the power lines that are nearby. And there's a road there, and that's how our lumber, that's how we timber the area, is through that. Now, I don't believe that that's actually in place at the courthouse. So that, in other words, that's not guaranteed, but that is actually something that is used. That's what we currently use to access that property.
Question about that, though. So what we're saying is that, and why are we leasing this property?
For hunting, it's supposed to be,
Okay, but what's the end result for us? Revenue?
yes.
So if we're saying we're not gonna lease it because we're not using or allowing the people that wanna lease it, our access to it, that doesn't make sense. Does it to you?
No.
But if
So-
our access isn't in place, there's no guarantee. A company, the utility that's allowing us to access it is doing that with just as a thank you or as being a good neighbor. Doesn't mean we can offer that easement to whoever leases it. Unless it's recorded.
This was one of the things that when we started talking about this months ago, that we needed to work out, because we've got a number of pieces of property that are landlocked.
Yeah.
And so, this creates a problem for us. I mean, we don't, in other words, do we take that property off and the people continue to hunt it without paying us, or what exactly? There's no guarantees here. Of course, if you put it out for bid, there's no guarantee somebody will pick it up.
Oh, the one you're talking about, it will be leased out.
But these are the kind of things that, we're leasing it out to gain revenue, but we're not allowing access to people who wanna lease it, and it doesn't make sense.
There are 3 landowners that touch that property. Any of those 3 could do it, and they have their access. So I guess in that particular piece of property, it would be limited to just those 3
Well,
people
that's
leasing
just one
it.
piece. We have numerous. I'm not saying.
Well, true.
For one piece of property, I'm saying anywhere that we have landlocked property that is out for lease, we need to have that,
Well,
that agreement in place.
I'm only leasing out 7, and it's a big tracts of land. I'm not leasing out like 17 acres here or 2 acres there. I'm just leasing out the big property. So,
So we have a
there's
couple
only
of big,
one, there's only one that's.
landlocked, the bigger acres.
That's landlocked, yeah. And that's the one between exit 138 and exit 142, the Posey Road. There's a piece of property, comes real close to the interstate. You can literally park your car by the side and walk to the corner of it. But We access it by going down Posey Road and going through a utility easement. So the utility easement is what we use to lumber it. But I'm not aware of any lease that's in place that we have officially that we can offer to whoever we lease it to. Because we would have to not only give them rights to lease our property, but give them rights to use our easement, which I don't believe it's in place. You know, I guess so I'll have to look that up. But
So out of the 7 pieces that you wanted to lease out, there's only one is with a problem of asset?
Yes.
That was the question, yeah. So
Could-
there's
This is
one.
one of the
Could
7.
you
I
leave that
consider.
one out for now until those
I
details are
certainly
worked out?
could until it got settled. It's just gonna be a process of settling that easement.
But the other 6 could go on, huh,
Oh, yeah,
correct?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, one's the farmland, so that wouldn't go for hunting. That would, we'll have to readdress that from a different angle.
Yeah. Now with the farm ground, that's, we need to send that farmer a letter and say that it's, we have to let him know, I think it's 6 months before, you know, before they start harvesting and tilling it. We need to let them know that
We'll
we're
reconsider.
gonna reconsider.
Out for bid. Yeah.
Out for bid. And did you find out how many actual acres?
I have not, no.
Yeah.
I have not, since
And
Tuesday.
I talked with a couple of farmers today, that property anywhere from $60 to $125 an acre. That's what they're giving in that area down there, because I told them actually it was down in the Clutcherville area, close to the levee. So, you know, even if it was wasn't farming but 100 acres, they ain't paying but $42 an acre. And I thought you said maybe 300 acres or better, so
At least 200, yeah.
200, that ain't but $21 an acre. So and then plus it got a government payment on there where they get money from the government, not to plant stuff. So, and that can go
They
up.
lease it from us and they get paid by the
Yeah,
government to not
any
plant.
farm ground, you get a government payment off of it.
That's right.
Yeah, and sometimes the government payment go up to $100 an acre they get. Yeah, so.
So they're making money.
And, you know, it's not your fault. You know, it fell in your lap, and we didn't actually know what they was leasing ourselves, and I didn't. And but we need to correct it since we know about it. Just move forward with it. We didn't let that farmer know we finna advertise for bid on it, and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you get that landlocked piece of property resolved for the July meeting?
Oh, well, I can go look it up if the easement's in place or not. If the easement's in place, which I've not, there's no element to the property that shows that there is an easement in place. I suspect it is not, but maybe I'll surprisingly find it. I'll work on it before your July. But probably all I can do is say there is or is not an easement.
Yeah. Would you say it comes up to the I-49?
No, you go down Posey Road. Yeah, our property, you can actually see a corner of our property based on how it's harvested. But you're looking to the left if you're going to Shreveport after you get on the interstate. It's about midway. It's after you pass underneath those 2 bridges. There's 2 bridges on the 8-mile loop.
Yeah.
As soon as you pass that second bridge, look left, and you'll just see a break where it looks like a corner. And it's based on a tree line. It's the look of a tree line. It's because they're on a different harvest cycle than the trees around them, and it's our property.
Okay.
You can actually look at Google Earth and come in and see right where it's at. You can actually draw the whole 640 acres out based on that.
So we just need to get a letter to that farmer pretty quick and let them know what we're finna do, because if we wait too late, they can actually farm it next year for the same thing.
Right.
We
We need to give them a warning.
Yeah, to let them know that, but you have to send them a letter
Letter
stating that
certified.
you, certified letter that's stating that you.
Please read the contract, make sure we hit those trigger dates.
Yeah.
You mean the contract with?
No, I'm talking about the farmland, so we don't miss any of those trigger dates.
Contract's been going on since at least 2005. The question is finding that contract.
Okay, yeah.
That's the question.
That may be, no one may have it. I think Emil has the best plan
I
of
think it's
action.
beyond, I think it's beyond its time already. I think it was a 5 and a 5. 5-year lease with a 5-year option. I think it's gone now. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to ask about some clarification on the grant and grant writers. If any have been paid for grants written thus far, and how much approximately?
Have there been some grants? Yes, around $11,000 was paid to a grant writer to write about, 3 grants? Those are pretty extensive and took many hours.
Okay. We had discussion, a decision made by the board. I think it was primarily to pay them when the grants were approved. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, no, actually, to fund it, I'll have to look at the motion, but the fund it is based on using the amounts that you win. I was never under any illusion we would win 100%. We're not going to win 100% of the grants we write. We're going to pay whoever it is a percentage
Right.
to write the grant, and it is likely not, in many cases, not going to win, or it'll be significantly reduced. Like you can write $1 million grant and they only give you $100,000. It's the same effort to write $1 million grant that it is to write a $50,000 grant. I was never under any illusion that every single grant is going to cash in and that money will be used to pay that person. I was always under the illusion as a whole, we were going to see that what we would win from the grants would pay and fund that grant writer and even the grant administrator as a whole.
That's when the grant is awarded.
Correct.
Then that person gets.
See, like right now, all the FEMA stuff has been obligated. Once all the FEMA stuff has been done, then we'll have enough money to at least fund the grant administrator who is managing.
The grant administrator and the grant writer are two different
functions, correct.
Right, two different functions.
Yeah.
Correct.
And we keep going back to the FEMA. That's
under the grant
under
administrator.
the grant administrator.
That's under the grant administrator, correct.
But
She would only bring in the granted writer when and if needed.
right.
Okay, so currently, let's say we win the ECF grant, which is $4.77 million.
Right.
There's a $50,000 budget in that to pay for the grant administrator, the grant writer at that
And
point.
the grant writer.
And the grant writer, just with that one win. We were supposed to have known about that last December. We currently don't know. For some reason, we have not heard about it.
To the point from Reverend Harrison, Ms. Dott, and I think Billy, you brought this up, and I think I mentioned this Tuesday. We're not in disagreement moving forward. If there was a need to contract out with a grant writer outside of someone who's already under the district, we would bring that before the board prior to doing that. Because I think we spoke about Tuesday, basically, I think the term was used, we want to go fishing, so to speak,
Right.
but at what point do we balance the actions of putting money after possibilities? Yes, $11,000 was spent with a grant writer. Moving forward, that is not going to be that's not our plan of action moving forward.
Well, that wasn't supposed to be at all, though, according to what we, the board, agreed on. If I'm not mistaken, according to what the board said, the grant writer was supposed to get paid from the grant that they received. That was my understanding. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mine too.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I don't understand.
And
Okay,
if I
so
am, correct me.
So the 11,000 the grant writer was paid,
Right.
you're saying did not come out of the grants?
No, because we haven't
We
awarded
haven't
it.
received the grant.
Okay.
To my understanding, we haven't, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
May
If
I,
I'm wrong,
may
correct
I
it
make a
today.
comment? I understand. In the future, I would like to see if we get a grant writer or whatever, and they write one, have a some document drawn up saying, okay, this is what we're gonna pay you to write the grant. If it is for sure comes to fruition, I'm trying to say that, then this will be the additional that you get if the grant is approved. So so that we got it all documented and all straight, because I'm like some of you, I'm a little bit over here and over there, so just to make sure that it's straight. Can we do that?
Certainly, sure.
And that'll be clarification for all of us. We'll know exactly.
No, I think
what
that
the
would,
set
and I think that
process
would make everyone feel better about
Yes.
grants in general.
Well, and that person, and the reason I say that is because the person doing the writing may or may not want to do that. They may not want to proceed with it if it's a big one and they feel like they're not going to get it or whatever.
And with grant
But
writers,
we are responsible for some time that person has spent for some, some monetary value that they spent on it. Now, if they get it, then she wouldn't. But anyway, we are responsible for a portion of their time and being a good for the work that they've done. We are responsible for that. So I think that would be a good thing to do.
But I don't think there's any misunderstanding now about the path moving forward.
Right. And so typically, a grant writer is looked at what type of grants have you written in the past and how successful you are. Once you find that out, you come to the conclusion whether I want to pay this person to write the grant and they get money just for writing it, or whether that person is saying that you're going to write yourself into the grant. And because of our discussion in the past, it was not said that that's the way we wanted to move forward. So, and you can check the documents, what we approved. But from this date forward, we're saying there's not going to be any wondering or pondering or guessing. We're going to do it the way that we have said we're going to do it from now on.
Clarification, what have we said?
We're saying, that, correct me if I'm wrong, that we would write, if a grant writer is going to do it, then they would have to be written in to the grant to be paid if the grant is successful.
Right, because that's what was said from the beginning. I know this is what was said. Okay.
Because that's what,
I don't know who changed it.
when we hired the grant writer, that's what they,
That was the fuss.
that's what it was,
trying
we
to
would
make
say
sure
that it was, when they be, whoever we would hire would be paid, it wouldn't be paid out of general fund, it would be paid out of the grants they write.
And
That-
then the administrator would be paid for administrating the grant.
But I think you, Mr. Danzy was saying, and let me ask.
Would you please speak into the mic?
Mr. Danzy was stating that they should be paid a certain amount for their efforts, and do we have that? Is that the other option that we presented in the contract? Because we know that there are different types of grants, and that people, the grant writers are paid a certain percentage based on the amount that is, the grant is approved
But
for.
Ms. Dot, I think what we're saying is, don't even worry about that, although you're correct. Don't even worry about that. Only do it post facto.
Strictly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Only post facto
we-
if successful. And if that means that someone's not interested in writing those grants, then we just go a different direction.
So somebody could spend lots and lots of hours writing grants and win none of them, and they get paid nothing. Is that what you're
Well,
asking?
that just means they're not good grant writers. That's what it means to me.
Okay.
Because I know grant writers all over the country that shows up, tell you, listen, I can get this grant, and you check their records, and they've been getting the grants. If I'm gonna hire somebody, I'm gonna hire somebody with a track record that's getting the grants.
That's what I thought I had done. Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
have a question.
we seem to see a lot of these misses where we're not understanding. and yet board policy has been set forth, but we continue to miss. We continue to do things that were not board policy. And so how do we stop that? How do we get engaged to the point where when the board makes a policy, we follow the policy? Am I wrong in that?
No, we need to stay on track. The board
And so,
is the
Mr. Washington was saying,
policy
well,
maker.
I wasn't under that assumption, and so I was pretty clear about it. If a grant writer received, the district received a grant as a result of their efforts, then they would get paid out of it. And it wasn't convoluted between grants and FEMA and whatever, it was the grant. And so I just think we need to do a better job of keeping our head engaged.
I have a question. How did you come up with the $11,000 to pay?
Those were the hours that she had spent on all the various grants that she had, the 3 grants that she had written.
So is there any grant out there that we got?
At this time, no, but there's the ECF one for $4.77 million that's pending.
Please let us get it.
Well, there's actually a third, there's a hybrid in the way of paying, which is what we've done. There's those people that write grants and they're awarded money out of the grant.
Mm-hmm.
There are those people who are paid up front because you want to attract that grant writer, and you pay them a contracted rate. And there's a hybrid, which is we'll give you so much as a retainer to do the work, which is what Mr. Danzy said.
Right.
And then any above will come out of the grant. And so I think where we are now, and Superintendent Eloy made reference, is that we're going to be in the grant business, and we're going to award any monies strictly out of the grant. Is that correct?
Correct. And if there was to come a point where we say, hey, there's this grant out there, we need a highly specialized person, we would like to deviate from what the board wants, we'd come to y'all and say, hey, it's da-da-da-da-da, we need y'all's permission because this does deviate. Do you give us that blessing to go that way? And I think,
That's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah. No.
But you can't, if she spends, or he spends hours and hours working on a grant and it doesn't fall through, maybe not to his fault. They need to be compensated some type of way.
Yes, ma'am, but we have to agree to those things prior
That's
to
right,
starting, yeah.
'cause that's what Mr. Watson just got through saying.
And that was the
But that
question
ain't
I
what
was
we
asking
said.
about that option.
You know, that's the problem. I don't think we know
So
what
we
want.
didn't make it clear either,
Yeah.
then how the person would be.
Well, we did make it clear. We did make it clear, but it seems
No,
like
you
we're
still
not
didn't make it clear
clear.
if the grant didn't come through. If we did, that wasn't clear. On if she wrote those grants or he wrote those grants and the grant didn't come through, how was that person going to be paid?
Well, we said.
We didn't say
Yeah,
that.
when we hired, when we
didn't
say that, we say they get paid, the grant writer will get paid from the grant they write. So if they stayed a whole year writing grants and didn't get no money, they just wrote grants and didn't get no money. We didn't
But
say we
that's
was gonna
where
get.
it's not fair at.
Well,
I
they
don't-
made-
Well, that's how a lot of the grants is. That's
but
how
it
you
was-
get paid
but
out of it.
was that clear? Was that made clear?
Well, we
That's what
voted
Was
on
that,
it.
we didn't say that.
That's
Yeah,
That
we
wasn't
voted
put in
on
the
it.
policy.
If
Yeah, that's what we voted on
We
because.
voted on they'll get paid out the grant, but
Yes,
but
yes,
was
we
it
did.
voted on if the grant didn't come through, what's gonna happen? Did we say that?
That wasn't addressed.
That wasn't addressed.
That's the reason I'm saying it needs to be in writing. That's all.
Okay,
That's
so-
down on-
so-
How it wasn't addressed if you say you hiring them and they getting paid out of the grant. That's clear cut. That's clear cut. We didn't say we're gonna pay you to write a grant, but if you don't get the grant, we still gonna pay you. We didn't say that. We say they
Well,
would
maybe we
get
should've
paid out of the
addressed it.
grant.
So,
We
so
should've
the,
addressed it also.
if y'all allow me, I'd love to put a bow on this for y'all, and if it's not sufficient, tell me. What I'd like to say is the buck stops with me on all these things. And if we are not doing well enough in following policy, I mean, ultimately, buck stops with me. I'm y'all's only employee, hold me accountable. What we will do moving forward is we will adhere to the board's wishes, and that wish is, as I understand it, that we will, we will not pay grant writers unless they are successful, and that will be out of the grant. If we have a desire to go in a different direction on a particular grant that has some reason for that, then we will broach that in a board meeting with y'all to ask permission to go in that different direction.
That's great.
Would that satisfy?
That's
Yes.
fine
Okay.
with me.
Okay.
Ms. Phelps. Give me a second, Ms. Phelps. Ms. Phelps said something the other night, and she's absolutely right about this, is that whatever we say, we can't just say it. We need a policy that's ironclad, that we all understand, we sign off on it, and how do we do this? And I thought we already had it in place. How do we do this tonight and not 6 months from now stumble over this again?
Needs to be in writing.
So, can I interject, because I see Ms. Kaneko over there? What I will tell you is we will not go after any grants between now and July. And if y'all would put together, either allow me and Mr. Wascom to reach out to Mr. Geis or to Forethought to get a policy, or you can put together a a committee specifically on grants to form a policy.
So I would say that you and Mr. Wascom can reach out to Mr. Geis, present us a policy in July, and we will vote on it then.
And look at it.
And look at
see
it.
if it's-
Because we're definitely not in a position tonight to say this is what we want to do, everyone agree to it, and move on about our business. We definitely need to look at something, ponder, and critique.
Okay.
So
Miss-
if there's
Miss Phelps,
nothing
while I'm-
else
go
to
ahead,
be
I'm sorry.
added, new, that hasn't already been said about this subject, we should move on. Do you have something new and different?
Yes, let's, while you still at the poll, and Mr. Back up, we didn't really make a decision on, are we gonna hold off on leasing this property or what? We skipped right over it. So, I mean, are we gonna,
You have already given, you've already given me permission to put it out for lease. I have
Okay,
found a
so we're
lease,
gonna
I
do
have
that.
6 or 7 pieces of property. I'm deleting the farmland, I'm deleting apparently the landlocked, and I'm gonna send the
gonna
rest
leave it
out.
out and go forward?
I'll
Okay.
send the rest out. However, the landlocked, if I find an easement, I'll present that to the next board and
Okay.
I'll go forward with that.
We wanna be clear.
Okay, moving along. Any other old business before we move on to new business? Okay, thank you. Okay, any new business to come before the board tonight? Okay. Okay, we have our consent agenda. You've been able to review it and review the minutes of the last meeting. Is there an offer to accept?
I'll offer.
Okay.
Second.
We have an offer and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Aye. All those who oppose? Motion carries. Item number 6, we had our informational reports. We have no vote required. Hopefully, there are no more questions as to all of the information that we had, but if there is, please don't hold back.
One question from Mr.
Yes, sir,
Cozad.
please.
Mr. Mike?
Yes, sir.
And you can answer from there. Moving forward, what is your drop dead date for the new devices for the upcoming school year?
To have them ready for the students?
Yes, sir.
It really depends on logistics at this point. We have all the devices we need this year, so I would say before August 1st, we are going to be ready to go. But we have been in positions in the past where we haven't received things until the second week of August, even though we've ordered them in April. So if the supply chain is all fine and dandy like it used to be, I would say August 1st, everything will be ready to go. I can't predict the delays in the tech industry, though.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Thank you. Okay, item number 7, finance, facility, service, and insurance. Mr. Danzy.
Item 7A, permission to advertise for bids, there were none. Item 7B, take appropriate action on bids, and we had, This item was added since last board meeting. yeah, this is a new one, and it's, this one was opened, and there was only one bid. It was open Tuesday, just before last board Yeah, meeting. Tuesday, and I move that we accept the bid for BSN Sports for NCH
NCHS athletic equipment in the amount of $47,240.40.
These are the items needed for the new field house that's about to wrap up construction.
Yes, I made that motion, so.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have an offer by Mr. Danzy and a second by Mr. Benefield. All those in favor? Aye. All those who oppose? Motion carries.
Item 7C, new salary schedule updates.
Okay, this is, once again, as I presented last time, this was the last adopted salary schedule with a few minor, it's in yellow about the items that, for needed clarification of the existing policy.
Need to get an offer first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I move that we accept this.
I'll second.
Okay. So also the recently passed governor's raise of $1,500 and the $750 for staff that also now have been added into these numbers.
Mr. Wascom, you said that there could be some, and things have trickled across your desk. When these come in, will you revisit that with the board as per that month that they come in?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, that's what I'm actually doing here. I'm actually a little embarrassed that none of these things were considered, but when you sit down and try to find ways to actually deploy this stuff, that's when you figure out that, you know, counselors can be counselors without being without having an education major. I didn't know that.
This simplifies it a great deal.
What's that?
This simplifies it a great deal. This
Yeah,
stuff.
it simplifies it, but we still left some gaps, and this
Right.
pretty much plugs the,
Well,
like on,
glad we got started.
And you
Yeah.
can advertise to a new person that's interested in our district,
Right,
and they know
right.
exactly
They
where
can
they're
go
gonna
on
go.
our,
Thank you.
Website.
and the update, after y'all vote on this, China's gonna release the new salary schedule on our website immediately.
Okay, we have an offer and a second. If we could have a roll call vote, Ms. Rebels?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 7D, Rapides Foundation Healthy Behavior School District Partnership Grant, and I'll offer that one.
I'll second.
Okay, we have an offer and a second. Is there any discussion?
This grant is for $53,300 over 12 months, by the way.
Okay. Any discussion before the vote?
Spread throughout the district, how will it be handled as far as dispersing?
So typically what these do is, and I'm not sure about the exact thing, but this allows for curriculum and things of that nature to be taught to certain grade levels or things of that nature. Like, so at all the elementaries, you'd be teaching them about say no to drugs or no smoking or healthy behaviors, things of that nature. So no schools would be excluded, but sometimes they are specific to grade levels and things of that nature.
Probably vaping too.
Hopefully
Yes.
vaping.
Yes.
Every kid in
Yeah, that's
Northwestern
needed.
campus has got one in their pocket.
Vaping is definitely a part of the Healthy Schools Initiative and part of what the Rapides Foundation is trying to fight.
So this is a one-person job?
This is not for a position. This is
Just
for an
for
initiative.
initiative?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have an offer and a second. Ms. Rebels, could we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 7E, Rapides Foundation Youth Volunteer School District Grant, that's in the amount of $66,700 over 12 months, and I'll offer that one.
I'll second.
Okay, we have an offer and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 7F, we have an MOU with Bossier Parish Community College. I'll make this is to a motion to approve dual enrollment agreement between NPSB and BPCC for 22-23, and I'll offer that.
I'll second.
Okay, we have an offer by Mr. Danzy and an eager crowd for the second, but I think Mr. Harris was first. So is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And you can tell we're very excited about this initiative, so great work, everyone.
Item 7G, 2022-23 Rapides Effective Schools Grant. And this is Rapides Foundation for the amount of $142,000 over 12 months, beginning July 1st, 2022. And I'll offer that.
I'll second.
Okay, we have an offer by Mr. Danzy, a second by Ms. Broadway. Any discussion?
Can we just elaborate on it for the public so they'll understand fully what we're voting on?
Ms. Rochelle, can you come to the podium and elaborate on this?
Good afternoon. This is a grant that we have secured over the last 5 years, and it's for a diagram for mathematics success. It's geared towards supporting our new math teachers in implementation of our curriculums. We are also partnering with the National Institute of Excellence in Teaching to further support the best practices that we are developing across the district, and to keep that tight alignment between the work we're doing with our instructional specialists and our math instruction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me ask, in any of the grants that we're getting, because my concern was, I've asked before about the teachers having assistance in the classroom. I know we have a new program that's coming about that began in no, just the teacher from Goldana. I mean, not the teacher, I'm sorry, the principal. I know we'll have that program that'll be used throughout the school district, but there's still a concern, and it seems to be one that's working in the smaller schools, and I hope that it will be successful. It seems to be a very good program in regards to the curriculum. I'm concerned that we will have monies available to get further teacher assistance, such as the tutorial assistants or the be it full-time aides for the lower elementary, junior high age children, because of those that are failing in the CR schools. And
So yes, ma'am. These grants that we're talking about, none of those are talking about personnel. Those are all more about this provides training and support and things of that nature. So none of these, no, ma'am.
okay, are we looking?
We need to finish the motion that we have on the table first before.
Okay, well, as you said, discussion, so that was
Well, that's not pertaining to the grant that we have a motion on.
okay.
Okay, so,
I was just asking for some clarification on it.
all right, so we do have a motion and a second on the table. We can have a roll call vote.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 7H is a motion to approve the agreement leasing the existing communication tower located at Goldana School to Anacoca Towers LLC, and authorize the superintendent to sign all necessary documentation.
And I will offer that.
Second. Okay, we have an offer by Mr. Garner, a second by Ms. Palmer. Any discussion or questions in regards to this item? Okay,
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 7I is a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding with Louisiana Public Assistance regarding Hurricane Laura and Winter Storm 2021. Right, this is new, this,
Wait.
sorry. I'll offer that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second now for discussion.
Okay, these are new they weren't presented Tuesday. They're from FEMA. Essentially, it clarifies our relationship with FEMA and Louisiana Public Assistance. So FEMA is federal. Louisiana Public Assistance is the same function as FEMA, but it's for Baton Rouge. And this ties all that in. This is both agreements that were This is both agreements. There's two agreements here. made the motion for. Right. One is for Hurricane Laura's, our relationship for Hurricane Laura, and one's with the winter storm.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 7J, motion to change the current conditions of the contract with Bayou Rapids from leaving the gym and auxiliary buildings to complete demolition of all buildings on site at the Clucherville Junior High at the same price.
Second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Danzy, a second by Ms. Palmer initially. So,
No, don't give me that one.
a second by Ms. Palmer. Any discussion, questions regarding this matter?
I would like us to consider the point that we talked about earlier, saving that historical marker from 1918 from the school when you walk in, as opposed to just demolition. We're not talking about.
The ivory one?
Yeah, we're not talking about a big item here.
I thought we already decided that we
Well,
were,
it's not on here. We're saying everything goes.
Not like all the filing cabinets and all that in there, that's gonna be destroyed, or we gonna get that out of there and sell them?
Yes, because I've been personally asked by numerous people about Dewey Decimal card systems that apparently are. So what we would do is we would need to get maintenance out there. Y'all have already declared everything surplus, but then we would still have to contact the lawyers and see how we would go about allowing those items to be, I'm assuming,
To be bidded out?
Yeah.
bidded out. So,
We're gonna have to go through a bid.
correct,
We're
yeah.
gonna have to advertise that bid.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to, or we can get an auctioneer out there.
We
Get
could
an
do, we could
auctioneer,
do,
they have to transport it out as is where is. I think that may be a sound opportunity for us to let them transport it out too, as opposed to us bringing it out there in a central location. Although, depends on when the demolition company will start. That's the next thing. How long will it take us? Don't we have to have 30 days out to advertise this stuff?
Yeah, we would have to put that, we'd have to go back and revisit and put that out.
Is it safe to sell?
yeah, the filing cabinets and surplus stuff.
So I think it's gonna depend on the, and if I remember correctly, Bayou Rapids want to start immediately, is that correct?
Yes, they do.
So
They,
we
they
might,
want it signed tonight, or there's gonna be some,
yeah, so we might need to transport that stuff out.
There may not be anything to transport out if it.
I'm thinking we can get maintenance over there Monday, and we'll go. I will tell y'all, I will go out there. Me and Mr. Wascom. If any of y'all want to meet us out there, and we will meet Mr. Shirley, and we will go through and anything that y'all can hold me accountable. If it gets left in there, then I would say that I'm saying no one wants it. So
Thank you, sir.
Yes, no, I don't want it.
It's 100 degrees, remember that.
Yeah, so if y'all see us, we'll be wearing jeans and t-shirts on Monday. So.
Good, we get to,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Did you want to make a comment? If you'll just step to the
I just
microphone.
want to throw in that a couple of years ago, we all had the
We
opportunity.
step to the
all
microphone.
Christmas.
We want everybody to be able to hear you.
Okay. I didn't really want to interrupt the meeting, but about 2 years ago, all the principals got to go down there and pick through the school, and there's nothing in there worth having. I mean, it's scrap metal. I wouldn't take a file cabinet out of that building if I had to. 3 out of 4 drawers won't open. I mean, we've all been down there and picked through it, so, I mean, I just want to take firsthand, I've been in there and looked at it. There's nothing worth having in there.
Well, there's a tremendous amount of small chairs, and like Mr. Wascom said, even the auction companies won't take them because they're surplus everywhere. But who knows, there may be a church group or something that for their class or whatever.
If there's a legitimate salvageable piece of furniture, I promise you we will go through each room. And if it is salvageable, we will bring it somewhere to try to do something with it.
So will we sell the other that's not salvageable?
Well, the stuff that's not salvageable, no,
It'll be demolition.
it'll be demolition, yeah, if it's not salvageable. Yes.
Okay, are we ready for a vote, or do we have more questions? And do we need to revise the motion to include removing that marker?
we can remove, right now, we can remove any movable items we want.
I will tell you today after the meeting, not only will I go out there and look at the furniture, but I will call Mr. Shirley and we will tell him first thing Monday morning, him and his crew let's go remove that plaque before anything transpires.
No, we're not gonna be able to do
You're gonna have to cut it out with a saw.
Okay, then we'll contact Bayou Rapids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mason saw.
Okay, you heard that? Bayou Rapids is already gonna save it, so.
It's very obvious.
Yeah, because they had another plaque, but it's gone. Somebody needed it more than anybody else. So it's gone.
It was attached to the wall, not in the wall.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that
so
one,
where-
that would be gone if it wouldn't be embedded into the wall. Yeah.
Where will this marker be housed?
Yeah.
Where, will it have a security guard day and night?
I tell you, let's make that decision a little while later. Because we're only talking about a piece of marble. about-
So we'll take it to I'm assuming to the warehouse, and then once we have to decide where we'll take it somewhere safe and secure.
Okay.
And why are we keeping it?
It's a piece of heritage,
The historical back.
Well, I take it to my house if somebody wanna come get it.
Well, what the community down there, they want to put it up somewhere down there, make a little
Right. So it
brick
won't-
thing and place it in there. Just they don't know where they want to put it yet.
Right by the edge of the parking lot or something.
It's something like that. That's what they want to do with it. Just remember the spot.
Yes. Okay, roll call vote.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoire?
No.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Guidros?
Yes.
Mrs. Broadway?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
No.
And Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, executive report, Ms. Broadway.
Item 9A, quarantine policy, Dr. Eloy.
I'll offer.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions for Dr. Eloy?
Did we need to include anything on here about parents who just wanted to keep their children home for all 10 days if they did not want to send their child with a mask?
We can put that on there. They have that ability. I guess the only issue would be, the only issue would be making those I guess, excuse absences or providing some ability for them to take a packet home or something of that sort. Correct. So, yeah, because, yes, they would, instead of quarantining for 5 days, if they didn't want to wear the mask after the 5th day for days 6 through 10, then they would have to quarantine for 10 days. Correct, yes. So I could include that option in there, and if y'all want to amend,
Or we can table it till July.
we could, actually, yes, thank you, Ms. Kanika.
Well, I withdraw my motion.
Yeah.
Just table it. Make a motion to just table it. Yeah.
Okay.
We have time.
Correct,
Let's
yeah.
vote on the motion to table it. Who's got a second on it?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All those who oppose? Motion carries. And if we can take just a moment before we adjourn, I do want to take a minute just to thank the Clutreville community for having a school. Thank you to everybody who worked in that school, to everyone who attended that school. You know, we sit around here and we talk about demolishing a building. It is someone's legacy, someone's memories, and that does not go unnoticed. So thank you to the Clutreville community for all that you did in supporting that school for almost 100 years. Over,
It's a beautiful building at one point.
so over 100 years. So thank you to the community of Clutreville. You are much appreciated, and everyone who ever taught or attended, thank you very much.
I think we need to put out a public letter to that effect, a letter to them.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice idea.
I agree. So,
I move we adjourn.
okay, meeting adjourned.
Happy Juneteenth weekend.